Hey, well, it's Huck, and yeah, I'm laying down in bed right now, so try to keep this kind of brief if I can. Of course, brief is a relative term when Huck is talking. Um, Wanted to kind of update you on a few things. Today was kind of a busy day. I visited two cemeteries today. One is a cemetery where I'm going to be interring my mom and dad on Monday. I have purchased a cemetery plot beside theirs. Um, so the plots are paid for. Mom and dad's ashes will be buried Monday. Um, it appears that I will have some relatives there for that. My sister-in-law, my brother's wife, and my niece will be there. A couple of my cousin and some of her family will be there. Um, so that'll be nice. And it won't be a long thing or anything. We're not going to have a big ceremony or anything like that. But you know, um, it's long overdue. We're finally getting it done. So I went there today to kind of look over the site, and in particular, I wanted to look at some headstones, some I don't know what you call them, grave markers, whatever, headstones. Um, and I also went into Youngstown to another cemetery, Lake Park Cemetery, where some of my mom's side of the family, her brother, um, her brother and his family, her mom and dad, my grandparents on my mom's side, are buried there. And I went there because it's directly across the street, that cemetery, from the place where I bought, the headstone for my mom and dad. And so I know there would be lots of similar headstones there. And today or yesterday in the mail, I received a thing from this company, this memorial monument, whatever business. They sent me a couple of illustrations, one each of the headstone that I bought for mom and dad, as I directed it to be illustrated or whatever, and also my own headstone. I didn't actually completely purchase mine. I put a put a small down payment on mine, and they're putting it in like layaway. And they said that they'll accept like even $5 or $10 a month. I hope to pay them, at least something every month towards that. Um, so at least that'll be, somewhat taken care of when the time comes. And at any rate, so along with running around that I did there, I wanted to look at other headstones to kind of get an idea of. I didn't like the illustration, as it turns out. It just looked a little too busy. So like they've got like some floral design around the bottom and the edges, and I'm probably going to have them remove that. At any rate, that said, I also went and took care of the deed to the house. Something that had never been done is now going to get done. I contracted with an attorney who finally removed my mom's name from the deed. She was a holder of what they call a life estate on the deed, and I was, on the deed as the owner. We had done that way back when my father passed away in 2007, and so they finally went ahead and removed my mom's name. They submitted a attorney will be submitting a death certificate and getting her name removed. Um, the other thing is that I've put a transfer upon death um, thing on record with the county recorder's office, so that in the time that when I should pass away, my house you know, um, will then go to was actually going to go to my friend Dustin, um, who who's really been a godsend to me. And he has been helping me, like I say, even before I was pursuing this lung transplant, effort. Um, he's been helping me, and he's been a true friend. Um, we've gone on some trips together now, and we used to go golfing a bit, and we went on a couple of vacations together now. Last summer we went to Boston and all that, and um, uh, unlikely we're going to go anywhere this year. Um, anyway, so I went with the attorney today and took care of all that, changed my will. Basically, everything other than the house is going to my sister-in-law and my niece. And the the other big thing that happened this week was Tuesday, day before yesterday. I went into I went back to the university hospital in Cleveland, and I had to do a 6-minute walking test, and I had to do a full pulmonary function test where you blow into these where you, oops, where you blow into this tube, I don't know, like 20 times, and they get and you blow until you can't exhale anymore, and till you're like blue in the face, and they want you to expel like every bit of air that's trapped, that you can. And at any rate, I was surprised by the results of these tests. These are all tests that I actually took when I first began this process of this lung transplant evaluation way back. I guess it would have been in October when this all started. And it's been so long since I had been tested on some of these things that they needed to update, where I stood. And amazingly, I did as well Tuesday as I did then. In some ways, I actually slightly improved, which is weird because I'm not, at least in all practical terms, the way I feel and the way I've been able to function around the house and day to day, I'm not as in good a condition. But you wouldn't know it from the test results. The 6-minute walk, for instance, when I performed that last October, I was told I walked 735 feet in 6 minutes. I have to walk at a very slow pace to preserve my oxygen. The faster I walk, the quicker my oxygen level drops. And so that's probably, I'm guessing I was walking at probably about a mile an hour, and maybe towards the end of that 6 minutes, the last minute or two, maybe even a little bit slower than that. But I did that unassisted. I was walking along with like this dolly that I had a 3-foot oxygen tank on it. That's what I used when I did the test in October. This time, they allowed me to kind of hold on to something. They didn't have like a rollator or like a walker. So what they gave me was a wheelchair to hold on to. So I kind of like pushed along a wheelchair in front of me, holding on to the handles, and I was able to take my oxygen tank, and put it on the, it had a tank holder on it. So anyway, I having the assistance of having something to walk with, I actually outperformed my last effort. This time I walked 810 feet. Basically, I scored about the same on the lung function test. In most areas, I either did as well or maybe just slightly better. So all of that went well. And ultimately, I met with two of the doctors. One was one of the actual surgeons who will be performing the surgery. And one was another doctor who's kind of on the team of doctors. In this case, I think this doctor was like a cardiologist. But they told me that as of next week, the team at the transplant center, the team of doctors, will make a decision on my case, whether I'm going to be approved or not. And they said that I had some ups and downs through this process. There was a period of time around January, February, March where I missed a couple of appointments for some pretty big things. I think I missed 2 catheter appointments and 1 colonoscopy appointment. And they were of the impression that maybe I didn't want to go through with it, that I was having second thoughts. And when the truth was, it was that I had become ill. I was coughing a lot. I didn't know whether it would be safe to do, especially the heart catheter procedure if I was struggling to breathe and coughing a lot. And also it was like peak COVID time, particularly in Cuyahoga County, in Cleveland at that time. So at any rate, but I have showed up for everything since without fail. And more importantly, everything has come back positive. I haven't shown any of the other, chronic problems or illnesses. I don't have diabetes. I don't have a heart condition. I don't have, arthritis. I don't have any number of things that, especially at my age, would make me maybe a less promising candidate. So they gave me a strong impression that I'm probably going to get approved next week. They didn't say anything to indicate that they had reservations. So provided that is true and they approve me to go on the transplant list, then it has to go to the state of Ohio, where another board of doctors or committee at the state level has to approve it. But I'm under the impression that that's probably a mere formality if the hospital team approves me. So at least I'm hoping that's the case. Now here's the catch. Here's the hurdle. I was told about a year ago in March. So what would that be? About a year and a few months ago. My pulmonary doctor told me that I probably won't be around in 2 years if I don't get a lung transplant. And so he strongly urged me to consider, applying for a transplant. So we did. I think that March or April we submitted he made a referral to the Cleveland Clinic. I had been in contact with them a couple of years earlier, or a year or so before that, and they had set me up with they sent me all kinds of stuff and basically had scheduled me to come up there for a weekend to do this whole battery of tests and everything, and I opted out. And they told me that if I ever changed my mind to contact them. So here I was, like I say, a little over a year ago, contacting the Cleveland Clinic, and they never responded. So by like July or August of last year, my doctor said, you know what, they haven't responded. My lung doctor, had some connections with some of these doctors at the university hospital transplant team. I don't know if maybe he had attended school or served a residency or what his connection was, but he said, let's go there. And so, like I say, since about early October, I've been going through this process. And the truth is, at my age, I just turned 66 here this week, in fact. And at my age, I'm at the extreme end of the range where they will consider you as a candidate. I've been blessed that, like I say, I don't have any other physical medical issues. And it would seem that if, that I've had a decent set of lungs I'd be fairly healthy. But I don't. And the problem is that 2-year window that my doctor was trying to tell me about a little over a year ago is more than half over. And if I do get put on this transplant list, I'll be one of, I don't know, approximately 100 people in Ohio that are on that list. University hospitals, where I would have the procedure done, does on average about 4 transplants a year. Some of the better known hospitals that do this kind of thing do more. Duke University Hospital does like 17 a year. There's one facility, I can't remember which one it is, that does about, I think the Mayo Clinic does like, I don't know, there's a couple that do like 100 a year, 117 a year, I don't know what it is. At any rate, so the bottom line is, if you go on the list, I would need a double lung transplant. That means they have to replace both my lungs, not just one. Sometimes, for people that have COPD, they just replace one lung. But my lungs are so enlarged and so corrupted that they can't just do one because the other one's so bad that it would corrupt the other. It's harder to find a donor for 2 lungs than it is to find one. They're just more scarce to get 2 good lungs. It cuts, the good thing about being able to get just one lung is you can sometimes serve 2 people with a pair of lungs. I would have to get 2 lungs. The good news about 2 lungs is they tend to do a little better. They recover a little better. They have a slightly better odds of being successful in for a little longer. The success rate of lung transplants is about 87% of lung transplant patients survive the first year. That's remarkably good. The 5-year likelihood of living is anywhere from 50 to 70%, depending on a number of factors. And age is probably the biggest factor. When you get beyond 5 years, then it starts really dropping. The success rate of living 10 years after a lung transplant is a little over 30%. For a double lung transplant, it can be up to almost 40%, about 37%. But again, age is a factor. And there are even some reported cases of people living 20 years or more. But the problem is that once you go on the list, the average wait time for a double lung donor is anywhere from 2 to 3 years. And so the prognosis for me, where I stand with the progression of my COPD, is that I won't be around 2 or 3 years from now. I honestly wonder myself whether I can survive another Ohio winter. So even a year might be a lot to ask. All I can do is try to stay as healthy. Now, here's the other thing. Even though I might be approved next week, and I'm hoping that I am, that can change. In other words, I could go on the waiting list, but periodically they're going to continue to test me to make sure that there's not a dramatic change. Among the requirements is, I can't have developed any other sudden, problem, heart condition, otherwise. The requirement for for this particular hospital is that you have to be able to walk at least 700 feet during that 6-minute walk test. Different hospitals have different criteria. I understand that some transplant centers only require as little as 300 feet, but so I'm doing pretty good right now. I did, like I said, I did 810 feet and 735 feet in the 2 times they tested me, which, met the requirement. But who's to say if they test me 6 months from now whether I'll be able to do that again. And if I don't, they may very well take me off the list. So, so at any rate, that's what's been going on. And I'm kind of, I have mixed feelings about it, about all of this. But I'm kind of excited that that I've gotten this far. And, I've always tended to be an optimistic person, and I've always tended to be, kind of a motivated person. And as I, told the doctors when I met with them Tuesday, when you get to be my age, and especially when you start staring down what might be, the end of your time here on Earth, you begin thinking of, what you've done, about your purpose of having been born to begin with, and, what your legacy is going to be, what you're leaving behind. And it's clear in my mind that, that there, I still feel that there is more left to accomplish. And part of what's been kind of holding me back has been my health. But were I able to get, even a few more years and a much improved quality of life, being able to physically do more, I have a list of things I'd want to accomplish. A lot of them have to do with writing. But it's kind of like what America is going through right now with, so many of the causes and political stances that I've felt strongly about all my life. It is frustrating to be at this point in my life and see so much of those goals and hopes taking a nosedive. You can blame it on the Trump administration or Republicans in general or whatever, but nevertheless, whether it's any number of on any number of issues, we seem to be going backwards, not forward. And those are all causes I wish I had the physical strength and health to be much more involved in, continuing to support those causes. And so that would be something that I would be more prone to be doing if I, have a little bit more time to do so, and the health to be able to do it. So anyway, that's what's been going on. That's how I feel. I'm looking forward to watching the January 6th public hearing tonight. I'll be watching it probably on, I don't know if I'll be watching it on MSNBC maybe. I like to watch MSNBC because I like Rachel Maddow when she's on, and Chris Hayes. I value their input, but I guess watching it on probably any of the networks would be fine. And I strongly suggest that if you've got the time tonight to watch that, it starts at 8 p.m. on most networks. If you don't have time to watch it tonight, record it and watch it later. There'll be, I think there'll be an hour summation of what's going on MSNBC tomorrow afternoon, if you want to check that out. But, this is going to be about 90 minutes tonight. Starts at 8 and it should be over around 9:30 if I'm not mistaken. The coverage will probably be longer, but the actual hearing will be about 90 minutes if I'm... And this will be the first of, I think, 6 public hearings. But if you value your democracy, and if you value the truth, and if you still have any questions about what really happened on January 6th, who was behind it, how that all was organized, and what really that was all about. I strongly recommend that you read this or that you watch this hearing tonight, because I think, from all indications, a lot of evidence about what was really going on and who was involved and how this was planned. A lot of never before released information is going to come out, and that begins tonight. So anyway, that's it for now. Again, I want to thank everybody for all the help and support and thoughts and love that you've shown me. It really means a lot to me, and that's why I continue to do these videos. And I'm hoping, as we move on, that I'll be able to maybe post things a little bit more frequently, and I hope to get into a little bit more, political discussion with you. In some cases on specific topics, and we'll see. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you again real soon. Have a great day, everyone.